I love bad, got my problem. And yeah, I like the got problem. ASAP, get like me. Never met a mother fresh like me.
New York's A$AP Rocky is one of the biggest hip-hop stars in the game today. 2 years after independently releasing a massively popular mixtape, Rocky started selling out headlining tours, opening for Drake and Rihanna, earning high-profile festival spots, and securing one of the biggest record deals in recent years for a debut artist. Born in 1988 in Harlem, New York, Rocky, birth name Rakeem Mayers, was raised in a common underprivileged upbringing. His father served time in prison for selling drugs when Rocky was just 12 years old. A year later, his brother, who had introduced and influenced Rocky with hip-hop, was tragically murdered. This inspired him to begin pursuing hip-hop seriously. With little money, Rocky and his mom had to spend time living in shelters. Rocky started selling drugs to survive when he was 14, giving it up completely 2 years ago to concentrate on music. With the crew he grew up with, Rocky assembled the A$AP Mob, an acronym meaning always strive and prosper.
I'm hot, man, I told her I agree.
In 2011, Rocky self-released his first single, Peso, which received a ton of attention online. But it was his follow-up track, Purple Swag, that managed to snag him a 2-year, $3 million record deal before he even released a full mixtape.
You about to hear my new mixtape, Live Love A$AP, you hear it first.
Live Love A$AP dropped on Halloween 2011. Critics praised the mixtape, and he was added onto everybody's best of year-end list, including our own. Not only that, he also snagged a spot on Rolling Stone's Rookie of the Year list, MTV's Breakthrough MCs, and of course as an opening act for Drake on his Club Paradise tour.
Been a while out for the weekend. Me, myself, and now my 3 friends.
Rocky's major label debut, Long Live A$AP, was released on January 15th, 2013, and even though it was delayed by 4 months and leaked in full before the official release, it still came out strong with critical praise and a #1 debut on the charts. In just 18 short months, he's just begun his worldwide takeover. I had a chance to sit down with A$AP Rocky to talk all about music, fame, beefs, and fashion. All right, man, it's been a pretty crazy 24 years for you, dude, which is separated by releasing the mixtape. You know, there's pre-mixtape, Rakeem Myers, there's post-mixtape, A$AP Rocky. Now, if we could, you know, take it back to the beginning a little bit.
Harlem is a really urban influential place, especially like even with Panthers and stuff. Growing up in Harlem, it was just like any kind of urban struggle, nothing different.
I mean, you had a bit of a tough go at it. I remember hearing stories about, you know, shelters and homeless and stuff like that.
But you know, that's fairly common. Bad predicaments landed us there, and you know, it wasn't too bad though. I was okay.
Stone cold love, rose gold slugs. I could afford it, I imported stone cold drugs.
Fast forward to 2011.
Yeah.
Mixtape comes out, all of a sudden you're headlining tours.
Yeah, man.
Sold out tours.
Sold out tours.
Festivals.
From a mixtape.
Was it crazy, sort of the impact you made so quickly on hip-hop? Do you find
I find that fascinating. I find it crazy. It's radical for the simple fact that I did all of it off of a mixtape. It's not a commercial album, meaning there was no money invested or pushed into it. You know, there was no machine behind it. It was all organic and natural. It's not like it was forced. Like, you turn on your TV, every 5 minutes you hear the song. It wasn't like that, you know. It was just something that, you know, people did on their own time. So.
Was that a crazy trip, though, or did you sort of expect that? Did you just have that feeling, you know, I'm going to do this, it's good? Because you know you're a talented dude.
Yeah, I always felt talented. I just didn't, I always wanted that, and I always hoped for it, and I always felt like it was possible. And that's how I try to keep my attitude, because they needed something different in hip-hop.
Yeah.
I changed hip-hop within a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Which we're going to get into.
I still want to be hungry and stay hungry. And, you know, I don't feel like I achieved enough, nowhere near enough yet.
Growing up in Harlem and then making it big in the span of a year, how does that mindset change from being that kid back in Harlem to now?
I'm still, just whatever. I'm chilling.
Just chilling?
Yeah, I'm chilling right now, man. I'm enjoying it.
Is it a weird thing to be that kid and going out and traveling all around the world?
It's not weird. It's more fun than anything. I was oblivious to a lot because I haven't been to a lot of places. When I travel, you know, my awareness just froze, and I know a lot of things the things that I know now, like I wish I knew a year ago.
Like what? What's changed? What did you learn that?
I learned like how to just like ignore people, not fight. That's just one example out of many.
You know, it's something that I want to ask you about, because, you know, I hear a lot about A$AP Yams and how, you know, he was important in making you who you are. How important is it for you to bring along, you know, those friends that you had growing up to the level that you're at now?
Ferg and everybody.
Yeah. Well, Ferg's about to blow up.
Yeah,
right?
he is. I can see it. For me, I mean, it's really important because that was my support system, those guys. A$AP was my family in the street. That was my street family, and it became a brotherhood, you know, fellowship, and it's just like the love that we got for each other is just really, it's just so genuine and real. We just watch each other's backs, and it feels good to be in that kind of thing and not be considered a gang or that's all about promoting violence and stuff. We're actually trying to do something positive. You know, we try to inspire people to be like artistic entrepreneurs and stuff like that, you know. I mean, I try to lead by example, you know, and I mean, Ferg, he paid attention, and now you see where he's going. And I feel like it's really important for me to just show that, like, man, I'm real when I say these are my brothers, and we're here to do something and make a difference. They're not just here to just make me look good. Yeah. We're all like one hand washes the other.
I heard this great story about you getting an apartment or a condo in Manhattan, and you shoved everyone in there, right?
2-bedroom apartment.
Right.
About 11, 12 people.
12 people in there sleeping on the couch.
Couch, floors.
With add another like 20 women in there, I guess, right?
How you know about that?
You just know, man. You just know.
I mean, you got to step over people. I mean, coming in the house, stepping over strange girls is just like, it's not the worst thing, but it's just like, you know, I'll be ready to kick them and be like, acknowledge me, you're in my house, say hello, like, you know, or something, you know.
You guys got evicted.
Yeah. I mean, time was up. It was time to go. So, you know, it was just one of those things where people was just upset anyway, like, they make noise, and they try to say we killed the guy under us. They try to say that the old man who died under us, we killed him. That's hard. You know why they say we killed him?
What?
With weed smoke.
Really?
Weed travels up, right? Smoke goes up, right? Yeah, he was under us.
Basic science.
We put stress on him and he died. He was old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we were the only black people in the building and the only young people. Here we come with just weed and gold teeth and loud music and just, you know.
That's an MTV show waiting to happen right there. Straight up, I wish we had.
I should have got on that early. I didn't want to sign to a major label in the first place, but, you know, with Sony, they knew what it was, and, you know, creative control, I got 100% of that, so it's all good. Here we are. Mission has been started. How did signing with Sony and getting Long Live A$AP out there change your life? Well, you know, we intended to just drop Live Love A$AP as a mixtape. We was going to, like, you know, remaster it and just put extra songs. And it got to a point where I just felt like people were putting me on such like this big pedestal that I, you know, didn't necessarily ask to be put on, which I don't mind. Right. You know, and they try to put pressure, and I just was like, you know what? Let me show y'all how creative I am. You can have that old shit. I'm gonna give you total new shit, nothing old, nothing. And that's just what I did. Look at all the artists that I'm just like shitting on. I just flew past them because it's like they don't have any kind of creative aesthetic. It's just, you know, yo, let's get a bottle and a car and some bitches and get in front of the camera. Was the money the biggest thing that changed your life from doing that, having the ability to sort of do more? Yeah, it did, because like I was smart about it though, you know. The only thing I could say I actually spend money on is clothes. I don't even buy jewelry. Yep. I don't buy cars, you know. I got somewhere to stay and somewhere to sleep. Of course, I got a house and stuff, but I don't have like. When I got my money, I realized that was an investment to help me work on my project, my craft and stuff. I didn't get it twisted like, oh, I got this money, okay, now it's time to buy a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Now it's time to go to the strip club. Like, I was smarter than that, you know? If you look at me, I didn't change much. No. I didn't change much. That sounds refreshingly sensible. I like that. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, I think most rappers should do that from here on out, man. Yeah. Like, if I'm doing a show and the promoter wants to give me $2 for the show, and usually people get paid like, what, like 50 cents, or, you know, if you're really good, you get paid $1. Okay, I got paid $2. I don't mind taking $1.50 just to spend it on my set.
Sure.
just to leave with 50 cents. Just because I would prefer for my look to be better than the average person. That's just me personally. So when all the money was invested good, it went into something that was lucrative, and it all came out good for the better, man. I tried to be smart about everything.
You stayed out of trouble. I haven't seen a headline where you caused any problems in a really long time. I think
Nope.
it's been a year.
You won't see me fighting no time soon.
What's the trick to not doing that? Just sensibility?
Big Rick, my security.
I love bad, got my problem. And yeah, I like the got problem.
As soon as I turned 24, I said, you know what, I gotta stop acting 18. I gotta stop, on a real note, I gotta stop having fights, pissing in public, spitting, and, it's just, I gotta chill. I gotta act like an adult for once.
Now, you touched on this a little bit, and with a big money major label deal and getting a lot of hype and making a name for yourself, people start to talk a lot of shit.
Yeah, oh yeah. I told you that in the beginning. It was like that, but we used to whip ass in the beginning.
That's the thing. So people talk a lot of shit, people get competitive, right? So you did used to whip a lot of shit, but you stopped. When you released the new album, you stayed out of trouble. I haven't seen a headline where you caused any problems in a really long time. I think it's been a year.
You won't see me fighting no time soon.
What's the trick to not doing that? Just sensibility?
Big Rick, my security.
Oh, okay, Rick. That's a good way of dealing with it, I guess. Yeah. I was gonna say, are you doing some yoga or something? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I do a little bit of, like, what do they call it, woosah? Yeah,
dude, I don't know. You know better than me.
Nah, honestly, like, my remedy is weed, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, man, it'll calm you down, man.
Well, hey, I agree. People are talking about the future of hip-hop, and when they talk about the future of hip-hop and changing the game, they mention your name. They mention Kendrick, they mention J. Cole, they mention Tyler. Are you comfortable carrying that weight?
Of course.
Yeah?
I do this. Yeah. I agree, actually.
Yeah.
I just try to keep it as real as possible. I try. Sometimes you can't really actually go as far as you want to go, but, that's another thing I learned.
That's on the road.
Yeah. Most hip-hop artists, they kind of build this facade that they can't live out of. It's like an image, and, they're stuck with that one thing. Me, I always went against the grain, and I wanted to just, kind of stand out as an individual or, than just a popular, rapper.
So we got to talk about this thing. So our friends down south did the MTV Hot MC list. Do you think you got screwed over on that?
Honestly, I mean, they put Kendrick at #1, so I'm good with that, My boy Drizzy was up there. I'm cool with that, That doesn't dictate me as an artist. It's like, yeah, they put me at #8, but they also put Big Sean in front of Kanye. Not to say that Big Sean isn't better than Kanye, but I just think it would be more appropriate to put the protege, after the main artist who, kind of brought him out. So it's just like, whatever. That's their opinions. I'm more of a tastemaker artist, believe it or not. I'm an overall artist. I'm not just a rapper, and that's why I appeal to people, because I grew up around like hipsters and stuff like that. Vice magazine supported us in the beginning. Fader magazine, Pitchfork, Noisy. That's who we speak to. That's who we speak to. People, the masses didn't know about me until Purple Swag, Goldie, etc. You know what I mean? So I'm used to wearing Givenchy jeans with dirty Vans with holes in them and sweating my ass off in a rave somewhere, drinking 40 ounces with some blonde chick with a green streak in her hair and just nose ring and shit on shrooms and Molly. Like, that's what I'm used to, you know what I mean? Like, that's my lifestyle.
I love the green streak, man. That's
right? That was very rare.
You knew what's up. Yeah.
That was very rare.
I hope so. You personally, though, do you need to be the best in the game?
My concern isn't being the best. My concern is doing my best. That's just about it.
Was the hip-hop from your youth that you grew up with too segregated?
I got into hip-hop because of my older brother, He started off with the 3 6 Mafia, Bone Thugs, Wu-Tang thing, you know? He had me listening to all that. So it's just like, to me, I didn't know, you're not from Memphis, this is not natural to just be listening to this. Oh, you're not from Cleveland, Ohio, it's not natural for you to, all I knew is it's in the house and it's good. He didn't, it didn't matter to him, he was young. And I picked that up from him.
How have you seen hip-hop change from when you were a kid till now?
It's always changing, man. I mean, think about it. From the 80s, it was all about Pumas and Adidas and, you know, rope chains and derbies, right? Early 90s, it was more about like hardcore, raw, gangster hip-hop in the NWA era, you know, backpack hip-hop and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you had like a Tribe Called Quest, but then you had people like Onyx, you know, MOP, De La Soul, like, you know, it's just like, that was the, you know, the differences. Then you had the baller era, Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, Tupac Shakur, you know, and I think the baller thing kind of stuck with hip-hop the most because most people are living in poverty, and I guess that was like a fantasy world to, you know, kind of want to, you know, be a part of.
Sure.
In hip-hop, that was the closest thing we knew to success. Then by the time, you know, the early 2000s came, it was all about, like, you know, G-Unit and Dipset. You know, that's all it was really about. Like, let's really be honest. It was like, but, you know, it was always changing. Then, 2005, it was all about the South. That's when Mike Jones and them came, and then after that, Atlanta was just, like, smashing. You had Young Jeezy, you had everybody from the South. And now you got Kendrick Lamar, you got A$AP Rocky, you got Drake. You know, it's just like, it's changing, man.
But it seems like you, like the A$AP Mob in general, you guys take a good throwback from sort of 90s hip-hop, right?
Yeah, that's what we listen to, right? Yeah. Like, it's hard for me to find inspiration from modern hip-hop, from my peers and stuff like that. So we listen to the old stuff. The whole A$AP Mob, like, those are the only cats that I know identify the brands that I'm talking about, know what it's about, where it's from, how it's produced, you know, everything about it. That's what I can say. Other than that, a lot of guys are just watching Kanye.
Let's segue then into fashion a little bit. We got to talk about it. You know, you're that pretty mother right?
Self-proclaimed.
You're making Andre 3000 your bitch with the fashion, right? Is that what's happening? You got
I with Andre 3000, man. He's, all right, look, he's one of the, like, top 5 jiggies. I'm gonna come clean. Him, I'm gonna only give you 2 today.
Okay,
cool?
lay him down.
Him and Pharrell.
Those are...
They legendary jiggy mother. Like, they've been doing this, but they didn't do it because it was, like, cool. They did it because they were being themselves, so I can respect it. It's just, they express themselves through their fashion. So I can respect that. I acknowledge it, and I identify with that, too. Why
is fashion for you important to go with hip-hop?
It's really not. It's just clothes. I mean, everybody got to get dressed, you know, every day. Everybody ignores the fact that I have braids right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when was the last time somebody even hired somebody with braids for a good corporate job or something? Like, now you probably see businessmen with, you know, cornrows or something.
You're on the cover of Vogue, dude. You're making things happen.
What can I say, man? You know, I mean, I just feel like it's time for a change, man. Do what you want, man. Like, for real, man. Who's to say that a banker with tattoos isn't better than a banker without one? You know, who's to say, you know, why judge them? Just because they're artsy? People got to hide their artistic side just to, you know, be business people. And I get the privilege of expressing it, and people embrace me for that. So that's the only good thing about, you know, being me. But I try to teach everybody else, man, even if you're normal, be you. It doesn't matter. Make your own destiny. You got to follow your own destiny, pave your own way, leave back a legacy. Anything's possible, man. Just do it.
In terms of, like, the homophobia that goes around in hip-hop, do you think that's a problem still?
They didn't care about me being heterosexual, so I don't care about what they do. That's none of my business. I don't go up to them, so, hey, how's your husband doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ask questions like that. I don't want to work with anybody just because they're hot. I want to work with people because I like their work, their art. That's all that matters, the art and the culture. That's it.
For me, when I listen to your music and see your message, I sort of always feel like you're trying to desegregate hip-hop. You're trying to open it up, which is cool, because I've been to some of your shows. I see hipsters there. I see chicks there.
Exactly. That's how you know I'm not lying,
Is that the same reason that you're willing to work with artists like Skrillex and Lana Del Rey and Florence and the Machine?
I actually like those people, though. You get what I'm saying? It's not like I get offers all the time. I'm not going to say anybody's name, because if I say I didn't work with them, it's kind of sounding like I'm dissing them.
Slagging them.
But it's like, you know, if it's not right, I wouldn't do it. I don't like forcing anything, you know? Skrillex and I was friends way before that, you know? I tell this story all the time. It never was right. It was never a time. When the time was right, we made it happen.
But is it also calculated, though, to say, like, hey, you know what, like, hip-hop can cross all sorts of genres? Because it seems like a lot of artists, a lot of hip-hop artists, are afraid to sort of break down that wall and let other genres in. You know why?
Because, like I told you, my concern is just doing my best. I'm not concerned with anything that everybody else is concerned with.
Yeah.
I don't care. I just really do what the I want.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you wouldn't just work with anybody, though?
They would have to be talented.
Yeah.
Anybody is a somebody.
So the Bieber ASAP collabo is still a little ways away, right?
Oh, man.
Let's not even touch that.
See, I can't hang with Justin Bieber. He's too violent these days. He's gonna get me in trouble. He's a bad influence. I knew that when I defended gay people sooner or later was gonna try to start. As simple as me saying something that's true and fair, like leave gay people alone. You know, they gonna call me that. Now I'm fine with that. You know, I knew that was gonna happen.
Going with that whole idea of, you know, bringing in all colors, in terms of like the homophobia that goes around in hip hop, do you think that's a problem still?
If people choose to, like, you know, spend their time worried about what other people are doing, that means they got a lot of time on their hands. Even when I did have a lot of time on my hands, I didn't care. You know, that's just, it's not my business, man. I mean, even to this day, you know, I got friends and we make jokes and, you know, people pause, no homo. It's just a habit. It's nothing, you know, discriminating or nothing like that. You know, it's just like, it's a habit. So I understand how easy it is to be, you know, but I feel like for the most part, when it comes down to, like, you know, you just see a gay person just walk in a room and then you just want to get violent and stuff like that. I come from people who get like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of hate, you know, for no reason, you know. And I'm not a hater.
And getting into fashion too, didn't that change your perspective a little bit about it? Because like your favorite designers as well are gay, right?
It had to, man. I mean, honestly, man, like they didn't care about me being heterosexual, so I don't care about what they do. That's none of my business. I don't go up to them, so hey, how's your husband doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't ask questions like that.
At the end of the day for you, is it still about putting weed and money, or has that changed?
It's definitely about money, weed. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna come clean. I love You need money to survive, and I got to have my weed. So, you know, that's the Harlem in me. You know what I mean? What the Soho in me is the, you know, Florence Welch and Lana Del Rey, you know, but the money weed, that's my Harlem side. I'm not trying to say I'm bipolar. I just, you know, grew up with two different type of lifestyles. I just want to just represent hip-hop well, and I want to show you guys my aspect on what I think hip-hop should be.
In all seriousness, though, when it's all said and done at the end of the day, when you're done, when you're ready to leave the music and you can give out your whoop asses again to the shit talkers.
I can't wait for that shit.
I know you can.
I owe a lot of mother.
They're gonna get some payback.
They're gonna get some payback like a
If you need a dude.
You got my back?
Yeah, I need a weapon, though.
I'm gonna give you like a metal bat with like spikes on it or some shit.
I need at least that, dude. Maybe with
brass
flames,
knuckles.
too, or something. But when it's all said and done, how do you want to go down? How do you want to be remembered?
Legendary, man.
So what's the future of A$AP Rocky?
You know, I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I just want to tell people, like, you really gonna have to step it up now because I'm here and I ain't going nowhere, and I'm gonna make it hard for all of y'all motherfuckers. So, here we are, A$AP.
Love it, man. Dude, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it, dude, so much.
No doubt, man. No
cool.
doubt.
Thank you so much. Cool. Thanks, JD. Awesome.
That was a dope way to end it. I didn't even intend for it to end like that.
Dude, I don't even have to cut that shit.